Hello everyone. Today we are starting a new chapter, a solitary human voice, excerpt from Voices from Chernobyl, the oral history of a nuclear disaster by Svetlana Alexievich. Here you can see a photograph of Svetlana Alexievich. She started her career as a journalist, then developed her own brand of non-fiction writing. Her writing about a particular historical event. She will visit people who were part of it and collects their narrations about the event. Her famous book, Voices from Chernobyl, is a collection of narratives by the victims of the disaster. So she followed a particular style of non-fiction writing, historical writing. Usually, a history book is narrated by the historian himself or herself, but Svetlana Alexievich, she used to visit the people who were part of the historical event and collect their narrations. And this particular book, Voices from Chernobyl, the oral history of a nuclear disaster, is a collection of narrations by the people who were victims of the disaster. So she won Nobel Prize for Literature in 2015 for her polyphonic writings. Polyphonic means multiple voices, various voices. Polyphonic writings, a monument to suffering and courage in our time. So it was in 2015 that she won Nobel Prize, and this is the cover of her famous book. It was in 1986, April 26, the worst nuclear disaster accident in history occurred in Chernobyl. This extract from the book includes the first-person narrative of Lyudmila Ignatenko, the wife of a dead fireman. So we will go into the details of uh, Svetlana in the textbook after the chapter. And now let us move directly to the text. Page number 74 of the textbook. Here, the photograph of the page is given here and the explanation is given against it. You can read it side by side and comprehend the passages. Difficult terms are also explained in the explanation part. Svetlana Alexievich, in her book Voices from Chernobyl, the oral history of a nuclear disaster, 1997, presents the voices of the victims of the disaster. In our prescribed chapter, Lyudmila Ignatenko, wife of dead fireman Vasily Ignatenko, tells her experiences directly. Lyudmila and Vasily were newly married couple when the disaster took place. They were very much in love with each other. They lived in a dormitory near the fire station he worked. It was not far, so Lyudmila always knew where he was. Everything was fine until one night. That night, a noise was heard. Vasily told her that there was a fire at the reactor. He asked her to go and sleep, and that he will come back soon. It was actually an explosion at the reactor. There was atomic radiation which was highly dangerous. The whole sky was lighted up. Vasily didn't return. He went without any precautions. They were told that it was only a fire. That is all. But it was not the truth. So it tells about the accident, tells about their happy life before the accident, and we will continue to the next page. Page number 75. At 7 o'clock in the morning, Lyudmila got the information that Vasily was in the hospital. She went to the hospital. Nobody was allowed to enter the hospital. Police gave warning that the ambulances are radioactive. Lyudmila entered the hospital with the help of a friend who was a doctor. Lyudmila saw him. His face was burned and swollen and puffed up. Lyudmila's friend asked her to give him a lot of milk. Lyudmila knew he did not like milk, but he had to drink now. Even doctors, nurses, and other servants were affected and died. Cameraman Shishanok died first. Vasily told her to get out of the place to save their child. That is, Lyudmila was pregnant. Lyudmila's friend Tania was also there in the hospital. She had her father with her, and they had a car. They went to the nearby village and brought a lot of milk. But the victims, they vomited the milk they drank. So it is about the hospital experiences, how Lyudmila saw him, and how they got milk for the victims. Page number 76. Their conditions were bad. They kept passing out, became unconscious. They were under IV. IV means intravenous therapy. Is a method of administration of medicines directly to a vein. Nobody told that it was radiation. They only told that they were poisoned by gas. The authority had decided to take the victims to Moscow. The wives of the victims protested. They too wanted to accompany their husbands. The soldiers tried to disperse them. Then a doctor came out and said that the victims will be taken to Moscow and the wives should go and bring clothes for them. When they went and brought back the clothes, the plane had departed with the victims. They were tricked by the authority so that the wives won't protest. Lyudmila was 6 months pregnant. She went to the hospital at Moscow. At Moscow, a policeman directed her to the place where they kept the Chernobyl victims. Hospital 6, Shuninskaya Stop. It was a radiology hospital where one cannot enter without pass. So this page tells about the condition of the patients, the victims, and about how the authority took the victims to Moscow, how they tricked the wives of these victims and took them away before they came with their clothes. And Lyudmila followed Vasily to the hospital in Moscow. Page number 77. Lyudmila entered the hospital by giving some money to the woman at the door. Finally, after some requests and beggings, she finally saw the radiologist Angelina Vasilievna. The radiologist asked her if they had any kids. Lyudmila lied that she was pregnant. If she said the truth, she won't be allowed to see. So she said she had 2 kids, a boy and a girl. Then the radiologist told her that she won't be able to have kids anymore because her husband's central nervous system and skull got completely destroyed. Lyudmila thought that he will be a little restless when he knows that. The radiologist allowed half an hour for her with strict instructions not to go near. The victims were sitting together playing cards. Lyudmila found Vasily. He wore dress too short for him. His face was not swollen now. So we are stopping here for a while and will be continuing later.